One of the most significant empires in European history is Greece in ancient times. Olympia, where researchers have been conducting excavations for over 100 years, was one of its more important sites. They are still discovering amazing artifacts nowadays. Researchers recently made a groundbreaking find when they discovered what is thought to be the first recorded copy of the past's most well-known epic poem. This amazing discovery promises to reveal new information about the beginnings and development of one of mankind's most priceless literary works. Come along on a thrilling journey with us as we examine the relevance of this astonishing discovery to our knowledge of ancient cultures and their rich cultural heritage. So let's get started. Let's look at the epic poem's brief introduction first. One of the oldest genres of literary work is the epic poem. An epic is typically a long poem with a narrative that recounts the adventures of an exceptional hero or warrior. They are going to pull off extraordinary bravery and skill to overcome frequently otherworldly challenges as they travel through dangerous journeys. It's thrilling material. This epic, which was written in prehistoric Mesopotamia more than 4 millennia ago, is one of the earliest pieces of writing still in existence. As it explores themes of relationships, death rates, and the universal human condition, the story centers around the mythical king Gilgamesh and his search for life. The poetry, which was written down on clay tablets, is evidence of the sophisticated narrative customs of prehistoric Mesopotamia. Well, the legendary tale of Gilgamesh is the first documented epic, and possibly the most ancient story ever published. It tells the tale of a great Mesopotamian monarch who embarks on a quest to find the significance of life after losing his dearest companion. It originated as far back as 4,000 years ago, and certain narratives from the Bible might have been affected by it. English-language epics have also been composed. Beowulf is considered one of the greatest and most renowned and ancient of these. Beowulf is a poem about the title hero who defends mankind against a variety of beasts. It was written in Old English, the tongue that the Anglo-Saxons used before the Norman conquest. The religious practices of today still value other historical epics. Hinduism's founding books include the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, with the Odyssey having almost 100,000 couplets. It is a tale of gods and humans, a synthesis of history and mythology that narrates the formative years of Hinduism. Sanskrit, an ancient Indian language, is used to write both of the epics. But ancient Greek epic poems may be the most well-known. The Iliad and the Odyssey are two especially well-known Greek epic tales attributed to a man by the name of Homer. These have left a significant impact on a variety of literary works, particularly Virgil's Aeneid, an additional masterpiece. The Odyssey is the tale of Odysseus, whereas the Iliad is an incomplete account of the Trojan War. The majority of narratives about the Trojan War fall halfway between reality and mythology. Classical authors were fascinated by it, but there is little conclusive proof of what happened. Homer's epic poetry serves as our primary source of knowledge about the fight. However, the inclusion of Greek deities raises questions about its historicity. In addition, it was written decades after the conflict was meant to have occurred. The gods are essential to how the Trojan War is presented. According to the myth, it started when Zeus determined there ought to be fewer people in the world. He organized an elegant competition among goddesses, such as Aphrodite, Hera, and Athena. Aphrodite was recognized as the prettiest woman by the judge, a prince of Troy named Paris. Aphrodite offered him the world's most beautiful woman's hand in exchange. The world's most stunning woman, however, had previously tied the knot to the Spartan king. The question of whether Paris abducted Helen or if she voluntarily parted ways with him to Troy is up for debate. It is obvious that Menelaus, Helen's husband, was not pleased with the departure of his beloved wife. He therefore requested help from the rest of Greece in attacking Troy unless he received Helen back. What happened then? The war started. Agamemnon, Menelaus' brother, served as the commander of a Greek fleet of about 1,000 ships. Additionally, Achilles, Ajax, and Odysseus also reached for help. 10 terrible and protracted years were spent in Troy's invasion, and after that battle had ended. Many historians are now debating how much of the Troy narrative is true. It was believed to be fully made up for a long time. However, some people now believe they discovered the location of the old city. However, the mythology served as the basis for two of the finest poems ever written. It's also not surprising because an epic naturally lends itself to tales of gods and bravery. The Iliad's title may have originated from Troy, which was additionally referred to as Ilium. The Greek alphabet's 24 letters are represented by the 24 titles of the Iliad. The mythical and virtually unbreakable Achilles is the hero of the story who dominates the majority of the Iliad. The poem describes Achilles' disputes with Agamemnon and took place during the final year of the Trojan conflict. It describes his rage and sorrow after losing his dear companion Patroclus and describes his disagreement with Hector, one of the most renowned Trojan soldiers. The Odyssey is divided into 24 books, just similar to the Iliad, except it is a little bit short. The Odyssey occurs after the conflict has ended, and the main character is a soldier who simply wants to go home. But Poseidon's anger always gets in the way of his progress. Odysseus spent an additional decade traveling until he finally arrives in Ithaca despite 10 years of battle in Troy. The Odyssey might not have been properly recorded when it was initially composed. It was read aloud, like numerous other poems of the day. Its first transmission during the Christian era could be represented by a few paper fragments discovered in Egypt. The Metropolitan Museum of Art currently holds the earliest pieces, which belong to the 3rd century BC. It is feasible to figure out how the Odyssey's story has evolved through time by examining these papyrus fragments. The parts are situated in Book 20 of the entire poem. However, they include lines that are not present in the traditional standard edition. It implies that each time the stories were recited, various storytellers added their unique twist. There was not even one authorized version available when the initial versions of Homer's poetry were being composed. The very first manuscripts that we possess contain writing on fragile paper. The majority of papyrus that is still in existence currently was found in Egypt. In that location, the lack of humidity makes it simpler to safeguard delicate artifacts. A genuine Odyssey manuscript from the Roman era, particularly one originating from Greece, would be valuable. Recently completed investigations at Olympia turned up a ceramic tablet rather than paper. There is now no proof that it was a component of the holy site, even though it was close to the temple. It had been submerged beneath a mountain of debris that was made of rocks, bricks, and ceramics. It has a section of the Odyssey inscribed on it. The tablet contains 13 passages from the Odyssey. They appear at the end of Book 14 of the Iliad, when Odysseus, despite a decade of traveling, makes his way back to Ithaca. He addresses a servant named Eumaeus, who has been associated with him all of his life, but the individual is unable to remember him. Although Homer did not introduce himself in his works, it is possible that he was born in the country that is now Turkey based on the language employed in the Iliad and Odyssey. During 1614 and 1615, the Odyssey had its first English translation. George Chapman served as the translator. The poem was first translated by a woman in 2017, and Emily Wilson received awards for adding a fresh viewpoint. It could potentially be difficult to locate a genuine copy of the Iliad or Odyssey because there have been so many different translations of these works. However, the Homer Multitext Project makes an effort to assemble all of the pieces to show how the old story has evolved. In our investigation of antiquity's literary and cultural history, the discovery of the earliest copy of this poem marks a critical turning point. This extraordinary finding opens up fresh possibilities for study and motivates academics and enthusiasts to solve the puzzles surrounding this epochal epic poem. We get a deeper understanding of the traditions that have influenced our current situation and are going to continue to impact our future as researchers continue to delve into humanity's history. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe to the channel.